Well, the thing is, right, is you have to have a clickbait title. You have to say, Arwen is dead. Himiko, new greatest must-pull unit ever to exist. Guys, will Blade be the most OP character to ever hit the game? I've seen a lot of videos that are covering characters that aren't even remotely on the roadmap yet, and it's so stupid. Anyways, I'm gonna start recording now. Hey, what's up and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, well, welcome back. We're gonna be going over a lot of the changes of everything. You really do have to clickbait though. Yeah, exactly. Just like the title of this video is going to be super. Do you really have to clickbait though? Well, so I talked about this before. You have to have a clickbait title, you have to have a clickbait thumbnail, but then much like Vulcan, you have to peepo talk for about 45 minutes but also give good information. That's how you grow, instead of just being clickbait. This, however, is going to be complete clickbait of a video. MT Case, thanks for the follow here. Anyways, so Hoyoverse completely invalidated every tier list. Like, this video's title is going to be Hoyoverse kills every tier list already out. Do not trust any tier list that you see. And everybody's going to be like, oh my God, I might put a picture of like Vulcan, like I'll take a screenshot of a whole bunch of tier lists and then just put big X's over top of them. And then everybody will click on it. But we're going to go over all the changes here and the reason why all of the tier lists are completely invalid right now. It's because all of the tier lists are going to be, well, first off, tier lists are stupid in the first place because they're all super subjective. And a lot of them don't value support characters as heavily as they should. But yeah, here tier lists are untrustworthy by nature. Yeah, for unreleased games. Yeah, but they're going off of all, you know, like closed beta 3, even tier lists that came out 2 days ago when we found the first information about like well changes, Himiko changes, light cone changes, stuff like that are invalidated literally a day after. So we got the client, and of course data miner is going to do what data miner is going to do. And if I get in trouble by Mihoyo, it's whatever. I'm not an official content creator, so I don't give a shit. So we're going to talk about all of the changes because right now I think almost every character got like pretty sweeping changes. And I'm going to talk about how it's good and bad for some characters. We did a little bit of theory crafting here when we started looking at this, but I'm gonna tell you why some of the changes are good early game and why they're gonna go into not so good maybe late game as things scale. But anyways, Himiko is going to be getting a change to her ultimate. Her fire damage is going to go up just a little bit. It's not like really the end all be all here, but like Himiko has gotten like a lot of decent changes. And you want to know why I think that is? You want to know why I think that they're giving a lot of love to Himiko? Is because in closed beta, I remember I was super excited about getting Himiko. I was like, bro, she's so hot, dude. Oh my God, this unit is so hot. And she's like a very big part of like the Honkai universe. Yeah, exactly. People love Himiko. And she was very kind of underwhelming in closed beta, right? Now, she was really good at farming. She was pretty good in simulated universe, but she was a little bit, she's fire, makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true. But she was a little bit kind of underwhelming. I wouldn't say bad in any way, shape, or form. Again, in like closed beta, we had really limited like time, limited resources, all that jazz. But I'm thinking because she's like kind of one of those like staple iconic characters, they're like, bro, we gotta buff this character up a little bit. She's got to be pretty good, right? Yeah, she does have some of the best animations, and her ultimate was probably one of the reasons was one of the reasons why I really wanted to get into this game, honestly. So they definitely are going to do that. Now, while they tweaked up the damage, they did tweak down the amount of energy gained whenever you defeat enemies from 10 to 5. which is pretty significant, right? That's a 50% decrease in the amount of energy that you got back. But when you're clearing out like massive waves of units in like simulated universe and farming, stuff like that, that energy regeneration is going to allow for a lot of ultimate looping. So I can see tweaking that down just a little bit, right? So it is what it is. The damage 10% for a 50% energy reduction, double-edged sword there. But anyways, technique. Now, this is one of the interesting things that they've added to the techniques here. Only one dimension can be created by allies at a time. Now, this is like her fire resistance or like area effect, right? Same with like Welt's area effect, stuff like that. So that's what's considered a dimension in the overworld before you go into a boss fight. So this is literally just wording changing, nothing really going on here. Her trace, Starfile, base chance to burn enemies is going to be reduced from 80 to 50%. Percent of turns that burn takes effect is 3 to 2 turns. Now, the reason why they're probably doing this is because they also made the change where all of her attacks now inflict burn. So yeah, they probably had to tune this down just a little bit. Now, a lot of the thing too here is like a lot of this comes from the testing in closed beta. Now, certain things felt easier, some things felt harder. So I'm sure that a lot of this, if they find out that this is a little bit overwhelming in the fact that they did nerf things real hard, it does seem like they're very open to tweaking things in the future. Obviously, I mean, they literally went through and tweaked a ton of stuff here. So Edge of the Void, this is going to be Welt's skill here. Now you can select the target to receive the first slash. Before, all 3 slashes were random. So this is going to be kind of interesting here as well. So does this mean you get, so all 3 slashes after your first one were random. So you pick the first one and then you pick the second one, and then the other 2 after are random. Hold on, let's take a look at this tweet real quick. Before, all his hits were targets were random. Now you can select the first target. Oh, so it doesn't show. So realistically, all of this stuff is already updated now in Starrail Station, by the way. So like if you really wanted to come over, like I didn't want to just pull up everything in Starrail Station or individually all of these. I'll leave links in the video to all of these resources. This was just a really nice, like, everything's in one thing. So this is why I was here. I already looked at like the vast majority of the Twitter threads and stuff like that when it came to all of this information. So that's kind of interesting that you can pick the first slash and then the remainder of the slashes after your skill and then the secondary slash are still random. So that's actually really nice. I kind of like that. Skill Gravitational Imprisonment adds a new line. So this isn't his skill. This is his technique, right? For Gravitational Imprisonment, it's the same as Himiko's thing. So you can't have Himiko and Welt having the same on the field, right? So that's perfectly fine, understandable. You pick and choose what you want to use outside of combat. Not that big of a deal. His Retribution Trace, before his ultimate damage was buffed by 25% permanently. After, buff the damage received by the target by 12% for 2 turns. Now this is going to be really big because before it was very greedy, right? It just increased his ultimate damage. Now 2 turns of all incoming damage to that enemy as long as the buff lands, right? So you'll still have to, you're going to have some effect hit on him. But I mean, you really wanted to anyways, right? As a Welt fan, I'm very pleased with this. Yeah, exactly. So in my opinion, I think this is a phenomenal buff for Welt. This adds a lot more sub DPS support utility, right? So, I mean, imagine you're running Welt with like Dan, who needs slows, who's going to be doing extra damage. Now, Dan is going to be doing even more damage because one, they're going to be slowed, for sure. Even if it's not through his skill, it'll be through Welt's skill. Now you have 12% more damage incoming on bosses for 2 turns. And let's be real, man, like I was popping off Welt's ultimate nonstop most of the time. So this is going to have like a pretty decent uptime, and that's 12% damage for everybody. Well, your your core DPS. So this could be a good team of like main character, healer, Welt, and you really would. Well, I mean, think about a hybrid Bronya in this situation as well. Hybrid Bronya, even with the changes to like Bronya's skill not being able to push her forward, like a hybrid Bronya and Welt. And I mean, even if you don't need Natasha, right? Like, let's say you're not doing like a hardcore Forgotten Halls boss, like you could get away with like maybe a March or a main character or like a Gepard or something like that. You could do like Gepard, Welt, core DPS, and then like a Bronya or a Ting Yun. That'd be a phenomenal team. That's a lot of damage that's going to be getting dished out. Throw like a Sele in there as your core DPS, a Shu Shang, something like that. Bring that big dick energy. This is going to be really, really big for Welt enjoyers. Now, his Eidolon 4 Appellation of Justice, before when using ultimate, 100% base chance to buff the damage received by the target by 12%. So that was what they moved his Eidolon 4 onto his actual ability or onto his trace, removed the 25% buff. But afterwards, this is going to be base chance for skill to inflict speed reduction increased by 35%. So this is completely reworked. So base chance for skill to inflict speed reduction increases. So his Eidolon 4 really isn't all that great. I mean, it's not bad. It's going to be easier to put speed down, but moving that 12% onto his yeah, he does need way less effect hit chance. I mean, you're still going to need some. And also that's E4. So let's be real. That's not in the realm. Let's not even worry about E4, right? Like, unless you're a Giga Whale, in which case you really don't care all that much. E4 on a 5-star character is not really the biggest concern for most people out there. So while that'll be nice when you get to E4, it's whatever. I'm not going to really look at Kafka here because, well, let's be real, Kafka's not even on the roadmap. I still don't understand why people put out videos on Kafka or Silverwolf or Blade, because while even though their stuff is in the game, who cares? I'll talk about them in a month and a half when things may have changed. I don't really care too much, other than that she's just really hot. But man, they changed a lot of Kafka's stuff here. Look at how much stuff here has been like completely reworked on Kafka. So if you're one of those homies, that made a video that's like, oh my god, I'm gonna save everything forever for Kafka. Oh my god, Kafka enjoyers wait 6 months before they finally put her out. This is why I think Kafka will be the most overpowered character in the game. Yeah, they changed her whole ass character, so just get her off the tier list. It doesn't even matter. She's not even out. Stop talking about characters that aren't even out. Same with Silverwolf. I mean, look, they changed a whole bunch of Silverwolf stuff. Now let's take a look here at Bronya, who we already know got some changes where she can't push herself forward, right, with combat redeployment. It is going to reduce the damage at 10 from 72 to 66%. Tweaked it down a little bit. I mean, that's a lot of damage, right? You know, 72%. So a little bit of a nerf here on the damage. Understandable. It is what it is. But again, she cannot push herself forward. Like I mentioned before, she was able to push herself forward. It's kind of goofy, right? Yeah, you can't immediately take an action right afterwards. Like you could just, there was like weird loop combos with her. They did reduce her ultimate attack as well and increase the energy cost. So overall, a little bit of reduction in the amount of attack and the amount of damage that she's going to be allowing the team to dish out, but still top tier support. And realistically, if you are going to be re-rolling, I would suggest re-rolling for Bronya. Now, I've said this before on stream. I think personally, when you're re-rolling on an account, a future-proofing support is probably one of the best characters that you can re-roll for. When Fate Grand Order first came out in North America, what did everybody re-roll for? Waver, Jean. And then they re-rolled for Waver. Because up until Merlin, who was the best support in Fate Grand Order? Waver. Who was on everybody's support list? Waver. You could throw any DPS you wanted in. Waver would make them better. Like, if you try to come at me and say, oh, well, Seele, okay, but any DPS can be a good DPS with Bronya versus not with Bronya. Like, let's be real. You know, like, yeah, your DPS is going to do a lot of DPS, but your subpar DPS is still going to do DPS with 66% increased damage. Yeah, that's just how the reality of it is. Support in almost every game, in my opinion, is one of the most important things, and one of the most important things that you can invest in. Yeah, except Sampo. Yeah, well, okay, yeah. I mean, there's obviously some exceptions to the rules, right? Yeah, it is what it is. But so just a little bit of changes here to Bronya. I don't think they're overall too bad. Not really that big of a deal. Seele, Ultimate Butterfly Flurry, level 10 quantum damage is going to be increased by 25% of her attack. And then we're going to get into Eidolons here, which is going to be really important because everybody in my chat, everybody in my comment section is going to be getting E6 Seele here. Because, well, let's just be real. All of you are whales. I know, my community in general is giga rich. Nobody's free to play. So everybody by probably I'd say the first 3 or 4 days should have E6 Seele. So this is going to be really important for all of you guys. Maybe not other people's communities because they're poor, but not my community. You guys are rich AF. The first and second Eidolon were switched around. The new first Eidolon, enemies whose HP percentage is 50 to 80% or lower. And so both Eidolons have new names. So they just flip-flop them. And E6 Shattering Shambles is, oh my god, this is huge, guys, because this is going to be really, really important to all of you guys. E6 Seele. They're reducing the quantum damage from 18 to 15%. Now, I understand if you guys want to go to the Play Store, or if you guys want to go to the Apple Store and rate this game 1 star, because they're directly nerfing your investment into E6 Seele. I'm not going to stop you guys, but if you want to, I completely understand. Because this is a bit of a travesty right here. I know that I personally was going to get E6 for that sick 18% quantum damage, but now that it's 15%, I just don't know if it's worth it anymore. Yeah, I don't know if it's, I don't even know if it's worth it anymore. Okay, so on to Gepard now that, yeah, basically, yeah, 3%, it's time to riot. We need compensation. Yeah, I think that because they nerfed it 3%, we should just all get a free E6 Seele. That's just really what it is. So on to Gepard. And I've heard people call this dude different things. Gepard. It's Gepard. Gepard. Yeah, anyways. So Intimidating Strike is going to be changed to Daunting Strike, I guess. Name change. Damage taken by enemy while frozen. Ice damage equal to 50% of his attack. So Gepard's attack, additional ice damage equal to 60% of Gepard's attack at the beginning of each damage, or each turn. So they're increasing it to 60%. So they're increasing it by 10% of his attack, which really doesn't matter because Gepard's attack is really not that great. Yeah, Gepard. Fair enough. Yeah, Gepard. Anyways, uh, you're not really bringing him for damage. Like his skill does a little bit of extra damage, but his skill freezes, which is good for like lockdown. I guess 10% damage is whatever. Yeah. To be fair, I guess it's whatever. But here's one of the things, and we talked about this a little bit before I started this video, right? His ultimate. So this absorbs damage equal to 60% of his defense plus 240. They're changing it now so it's 40% of his defense plus 600. Now that's an extra 360. That's going to be the same as 1800 defense at the reduction of 20%. So realistically, what we were theory crafting beforehand is that this is a good early game change. Because when you have Garbo gear, when you have blue gear, you have purple gear, it's whatever. This is the flat absorption here is going to be really, really good early game. Now, when you scale into like Giga OP, min-maxed late game, it will probably fall off a little bit because the extra 20% in certain situations would be better than the flat 360. But I think when you get to that point, we'll cross that bridge. Nobody's going to get to that point in like the first month of the game. I don't even think Giga Whales are going to get to that point, really. Plus, yeah, like chat said, the flat will allow for maybe some more effect hit rate. You can maybe min-max a little bit more like HP in there. Like there's a lot of stuff. I think this is just going to make his gearing a little bit more flexible. And then his technique is going to deal absorb damage equal to 24%, but they're going to increase the flat here. So his technique just gets a straight up buff right here from going from 96 to 150 flat. Right, so this is going to be just I feel like this is a good overall buff for Gepard, which a lot of people were like, bruh, Gepard. Yo, I think like, I honestly, I think Homie's actually pretty good. Like, realistically, this guy, even though he doesn't have a hard taunt, right, he's just got a soft taunt with his taunt abilities, with his talents, with his traces, stuff like that. I think this dude is like literally the definition of a tank. Like when it comes to like the 3 tanks, I mean, to be fair, he's like the only one you have to pull from the gacha. The other 2 are free. But like this dude, there's like characters where it's like, this is their job and they do their job. Yeah. He's got a big fat boy shield. He's got good amount of soft taunt. I think overall he's pretty all right. So let's take a look here at Quara getting a direct nerf to the HPs, which is going to be really shitty because that means that like base HP affects HP percent. Now it doesn't affect flat HP on gear, but it does overall affect that. And this sucks too because we're family. And I really wish that I could just edit in like a Fast and the Furious meme here. Like, you know, hey, for those of you at home, comment section, chat, whatever, somebody Photoshop Dom's head onto Svarog and then DM it to me because I want to see that. That would be great. But she's losing a lot of her tankability here. 5% damage reduction and base HP. Now I said that if I pulled Quara from the beginner gacha, I would attempt to solo as much stuff as humanly possible with Quara. This is gonna make it a lot harder. But just a little bit of tweaks here. We'll see how this works. Cora already was in like a weird state because, like, you know, she's like a super, super slow counter tank. But we'll find out. Not going to really worry about that character because he's not out. Now let's talk about Jing, Lion Daddy. That fire and physical main character is just better than her. I mean, he doesn't counter attack though, but he is better than her because he has shoes. She main character has shoes. So technique combat talisman. This is going to increase the account tack for the first turn from 2 to 3. That's going to give you extra lightning god damage there. And his trace is going to be a direct 5% crit damage increase. And it does look like most of his nodes were adjusted here. Does it show? Oh, I'm not going to read all this before. So they did, it looks like Battalia Crush got increased. So they adjusted his crit rate on Battalia Crush. Oh, they change. These are all out of order. No, they're not. Oh, did they just... Oh, they changed the names. Okay, so they are kind of out of order here. So it does look like he got a lot of changes here. Lightning damage. Did they just move stuff around? Oh, they changed a lot of his... They took away a lot of his direct lightning damage. So they took out all of his lightning damage here and then just traded it for attack percent, which actually was probably... This is a big nerf because lightning damage is multiplicative in the damage calculation versus like flat attacks. So this is like just straight up multiplicative damage here. No, I don't think that. So Wario, I don't think that this was a buff. I think that he took a big fat L in these changes right here because they're taking away a lot of lightning damage. So this is what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8% lightning damage plus 6.4 more lightning damage. And they're replacing all of it with just crit rate and attack. Now the crit rate is good because at max level, this is going to allow you for, well, actually, so there's crit rate here, crit rate here. Yeah, so this is going to actually allow you for a little bit more flexibility. Although they took away his crit rate down here as well and then redid it with attack. So actually, I think that even though they gave him just straight up 5% crit damage here and an extra attack, he took an absolute fat L in the adjustments of his nodes. They replaced all of his multiplicative lightning damage with just attack percent. Yeah, he took that's actually a really big nerf. Yeah, just replacing this with like 4.8% lightning damage. Or let's see, hold on, no. Man, they needed to put these in order. So 4.8 with 4 crit rate. Oh no, the crit rate was already there at A5. Man, these pictures are like goofy. So they replaced 4.8% multiplicative lightning damage with 6% attack. I can guarantee you in overall output damage, that is not an equivalent exchange. I don't think that makes that much difference with lightning damage main stat artifact. Yeah, it does, because the thing is, right, is in terms of like the damage calculator, like lightning, like the damage overall, right? So like if we look at the damage formula, it's base damage times damage multiplier. Um and base damage is your skill plus like your attack, right? And then it's all multiplicative on your damage multiplier. The title, you won't believe this huge Star Rail nerf Jing Yun destroyed. Yeah. So at least like in Epic 7 anyways, right? Everything, all the skill and attack and everything like that goes into one thing, and that's multiplied by like your crit damage, and then like your damage multiplier, like your lightning damage. So like everything is like added together, and then it's multiplicative on your like lightning damage, right? So like most things scale off of attack, right? So like if we come over here to Jing, right? Lightning. So like if we come down and we look at it, right? So like he does lightning damage, but it's 110% of his attack. And then that further increases his lightning damage multiplier after the fact, right? So attack isn't like a direct like multiplicative thing. So it's like lightning damage, and then everything's like multiplied by like crit damage and stuff like that. Oh, he'll still be the best AoE by a mile. Yeah, he'll still be the best AoE by a mile. I'm just saying that while you look at this right here and you go, damn, an extra attack on Lightning God, 25% like a 5% crit damage, that's a huge buff. But then when you really dig into these nodes, that's where you see that they definitely adjusted him. They tuned his nodes down and then made up for it by giving him this right here. So I think overall it's probably like a net neutral or a small nerf in terms of the damage that he does. Yeah. So anyways, we're going to move on to Yang here. So technique master fencer, number turns of defense buff is going to be reduced, or damage buff is going to be reduced by 1. Targets HP greater than 40% of Yan's max HP is going to be turned to 50%. So that's not bad. It makes it allows his stuff to hit a little bit better. Eidolon name changes and fourth effect changed. So let's see. Impaling Rhyme. When his current HP is above 80% of his max HP, his ice resistance penetration is increased by 20. Oh, they took away 8% of his ice resist. Oof. That's pretty rough. They also changed his first skill. When Yang attacks a frozen enemy, he deals ice damage equal to 100% of his attack and removes the frozen effect. So now he just does 60%, but does not remove the frozen effect. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I mean, they tweaked the damage down, but they didn't get rid of the frozen effect. So I actually do like that. No mind, when empathetic sword link is activated, energy regeneration increased by 12. They brought that down to 10. And then they changed his 4 as well. They took away 8% there. So he is going to be getting a decent nerf on his damage overall, but he doesn't remove frozen. So that's not bad. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? Yeah, it's okay. He's too strong already. Yeah, I mean, I think overall it's not bad. Like, you got to have like a little bit of give and take here, right? You know, the thing is, right? Hold on, wait. Let me go back up here to Sele. Wait, they just gave her a buff. They didn't even change any of her other stuff. They're just like, hey, you guys just want 25% buff? Okay. Can't see any favoritism there. Yeah, can't even see any favoritism there. All right, Bailu. I talked about this. I did update my Bailu video, which if you guys haven't, go check on that. They're gonna be changing this around, and I think this is gonna be very much like Gepard's situation, where they are gonna be nerfing her overall heal amount from 16 to 11.7, but they are going to be increasing the flat amount that comes through. I think this is to, like I said, ease earlier worries where gear is literal garbage and not worth your time really to level it. So that reduces the overall healing output on those characters. So this is going to be a decent um, uh, in terms of that. Now, heals single ally two more times to heals random allies two times. Um, I think this is just literally wording here. It's gonna work pretty much the same way, right? Where it says random allies instead of heals a single ally two more times. It was a little bit. It bounces. Yeah, yeah. It is hard to get the main stats early. Bailu, I think, is somewhat of a buff since the Invigorated is going to have two turns, which is kind of nice, and she isn't going to age well anyways. So getting better early hearing is plus for me. Yeah, I completely agree. So her ultimate is going to be reduced from 18 to 13.5. However, you're going to get a flat 144 is going to be changed to 360. Again, same deal here, right? They're just tweaking the percent down and increasing the flat, which I think is perfectly fine. Uh, Amount healed when ally is hit. This is going to be off of the invigoration. 10% down to 5.4, changing the flat from 100 to 144, which seems kind of low actually. Um, Actually, you know what? No, this is a net benefit right here, right? Because this doubles up the amount of flat, but doesn't reduce the double amount here. Because you would think that if they were going to cut it in half, it'd be 30% of Bailu's max HP on the talent that brings you back to life. But you're going to get 18% plus 480. So this is almost technically like if everything's equal, 3% there. But that would be some weird math that I just don't want to do right now. And then Saunter in the Rain is going to increase the invigoration from 1 to 2 two turns. So I think this is a pretty good change to Bailu overall. And I think a lot of these changes are actually not too bad when you really think about it. I think overall these are good changes, and I think overall this is a good tweaking going into the game. It seems like they're trying to make it easier for new players. I agree. Yeah, no, I completely agree that it does seem like they are changing a lot of stuff there for that. Now that was just the 5 stars though. I believe they changed 4 stars too, right? The 4 star changes are more rough. We don't do we have Oh, why don't they have a does this guy have all the 4 stars? No. All right, let's look at the 4 stars individually here. Ugh. Oh, one by one. Let's go, boys. The struggle. Okay, so March. So this is going to provide a single ally with a shield that can absorb 80% plus 320 for 3 turns. What does that change to? So this is going to change to 57 plus 760. That seems like a wow. That actually seems like a really big change. 760. That's a pretty decent change right there. But I think this is going to be similar to like Gepard, right? Where they're trying to ease that gear. You know, so that way if you don't have a whole lot of defense, it is what it is. This is a pretty fat shield. You're not even losing half of your defense, and you're gaining, what is that, double the flat? So I think this is a perfectly fine change. I think that's good. Her Eidolons, what do we see changed here, right? So let's see. Oh, they changed up a whole bunch here. Increase the number of times talent can counter effect, can be triggered each turn. So they reworked her E1, E2, E4, and E6. All right, so they're gonna change the ice damage counter thing here. That's gonna go into, she gets 6 energy whenever her ultimate freezes, which is her second Eidolon, which is gonna be a nerf. She gets 6 instead of 10. Her second one, upon entering battle, grants a shield equal to 24% plus 320. What was that one? Okay, so that's the 4. So they moved 1 to 2, 4 to 2. No, so they move 2 to 1, 4 to 2, and then increased the 4. And so I'd assume they moved 1 to 4. Let's see, 1 to 4. Yeah, okay, so they moved 1 to 4. And then 6 would just be changed. Allies under the protection of the shield granted by the skill restore 40% or HP 6% plus 48. This is going to be 4% plus 106. So they just shuffled things around a little bit here, which kind of sucks. I liked the extra counter on the first one. That's weird. So they moved those around. So overall, I mean, just a little bit of shuffle right there. I don't think it's too bad. I think that, you know, again, just like Gepard, March is going to just be getting like some extra little buffs here, right? I think that's a fine change. Let's look at Dan. So Dan's skill was nerfed. Reduce the target speed by 15 to 12. Which again, I don't think is really that big of a deal. Bro, I heard, like, when I was looking at some, like, the tier lists, people were like, all right, little homie, let me tell you about why Dan is really good. Because he can also support by providing slow. Really? Yeah, okay. Yeah, he can. But is that real? Are you building a team? Were you telling me that a homie was like sitting down and they're like, man, I really need to build a team. And I really need a DPS that also has support. And Dan has slow. And that's going to be really, really important to me. Like, let's be real. If you needed slow, you were probably bringing somebody who had some sort of CR manipulation in order to slow in the first place. Like, that's just the reality. That's, yeah. So changing his slow from 15 to 12 really isn't that big of a deal. That's not that big of a deal. E1 was nerfed. All right, so his E1, they nerfed his E1 from 15 to 12. And the slow triggered by skill reduces the enemy's speed by additional 10, reduced to 8%. So he's got what, an overall 20% speed reduction whenever you have his E6. Again, really not that big of a deal, and he loses 3% crit rate. Dan, literally worst unit now. Actual trash. Arwen. Now, when we were making this video, before we made this video and I was looking for the Honkai Star Rail OSD, I saw 2 videos. Count them, 2 videos that said that Arwen is literally a dead unit. Never going to be used again. The absolute biggest pile. Now, I will say that this is a pretty big hit here. This is like, what, an 80% attack damage reduction? Now, the nice thing is you still don't have to use a, you still do not have to use a skill point for Arwen's skill. Yeah, he was hit really hard. Yeah, you don't have to use a skill point, which I mean is still really, really big. And one of the more unique things here. I think this is I mean, that was a lot of damage. He did a lot of damage, especially when he was on low HP. Like Arwen could pop off like real hard. But yeah, you don't use a skill point because you consume HP instead of using a skill point, which allows for a lot of extra flexibility and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, if they shadow nerfed it and they were like, oh yeah, now he uses a skill point and we gutted his overall damage, then yeah, he'd be a dead unit. So let's see, talent-wise, so this is going to increase his damage for every percent of HP below his max HP up to a max of 80% more damage. This is going to be reduced down to 72%, so even further reduction in Arwen's overall damage. Is a little bit rough. But again, he definitely could pop off. Like that's just the way it is. You know, the thing too, though, like that I thought, right? And this was like kind of early on when I was looking at like this damage tier list, right? Like on single target, bro, they've got him like way down here. Like, and I'm like, I don't think that's true. Like, how did, like, if they're using everything in a vacuum, like, did they just have him at 100% HP? Like, I'd have to see the numbers on this because there's no way that Arwen, when like low HP juiced out, doesn't just crap on this meter. Like, that's why I don't think that this DPS ranking is very good. Yeah, they showed the worst case scenario. But in Arwen's case, you should show the best case scenario because like you're gonna I don't know. Anyways, I don't really like this. I don't really like this anyways. So I think that you can't really test it in a vacuum against zero Z defense. But anyways. So they changed Arwen's skill. Let's see, 5%. So when HP is lower than or equal to 50% of his max HP, skill damage is increased by 10%. So they increased that. Using skill or ultimates removes 1 debuff from self. Wait, did they directly change his wording here? No, not on this, on his skill. 15% of his max HP. If Arwen does not have... Okay, so they just moved his E1 onto his skill. That's good. So this just literally frees up this completely. And they moved his E2 onto his S1. Oh, they split it in half. Okay, so if he's below 50%, he gets 10% skill damage increase. And then they just broke it in half, and then using skill or ultimate removes the debuffs from oneself. I feel like they could have added a little bit more here. Actually, this is kind of a nerf, right? Because before, his E2 was just like, hey, we just increased the skill by 10%. Now it has a modifier on it that like, oh, well, you got to be lower than 50%. Which, I mean, if you're trying to optimize Arwen, you need to be below 50% anyways. You need to be as close to dead as possible without, you know, being dead. But I feel like they could have given you some concessions here, right? Like, I mean, you got the homie's skill. You change things around. We'll have to see how it goes, right? I do think, though, that, like, changing that skill modifier was a big hit. But adding this on here and the fact that it doesn't consume a skill point is good. E4, when struck by a killing blow, instead of becoming incapacitated, he gets back to 25%. This effect is automatically removed after it is triggered once, or after 2 turns have elapsed. Wait. Wait a second. If he dies at turn 3, he doesn't revive if you have E4? What? That's the whole point of having this, is that you just get an extra life. When struck by a killing blow after entering battle, instead of becoming knocked down, Arwen immediately restores his HP to 25%. This effect is automatically removed after it is triggered once or after 2 turns have elapsed. This is horrible. What an absolute dog shit change. That's actually hot garbage. Wow. There should be no conditional on that. That's terrible. They should revert that, in my opinion. Like, why is that? Yeah. That's literally turn 1 if you use him with Bronya. Yeah. That's horrible. That is a terrible change. Wow. All right, let's hope that Asta's better. All right, so Asta's talent. This is going to gain a charge. We already know how that goes. Attacks 10% by up to 5 times, starting from her second turn. She has it reduced. So what did they change it to? Ooh, increase of 14%. So this is going to be that's a nice buff. Yeah, an extra straight up, what is that, 20% extra attack? If you have that bad boy stacked up 5 times. Not bad. Not bad. We'll take that buff. You know, hey, you crap on Arwen and buff Asta. All right, so let's see. Basic attack, 80% chance to burn for 3 turns. Fire damage by 8. Holy shit. 18% fire damage for all allies with Ignite and a 20% dot increase. Wowee. Damn, Asta getting the love. Holy shit, dude. No, they don't even make it harder to stack. Bro, that's just a straight up 10% fire damage buff for Herta, for Hook. Damn. Fire MC, yeah. I mean, I don't really care I don't give a crap about the extra dot damage on her fire from her basic attack. But like that straight up 10% for like your other, like your fire carries is huge. And they reduced her ultimate cost from 130 to 120. She felt really good, and she got super buffed, man. Yeah, we'll take those, dude. Yeah, no, hey, those are good. Yeah, they took all of the abilities from Arwen and gave it to her. Sadly, no fire carry at the moment except for Hook. I mean, her Himiko's getting lots of buffs, man. Like Himiko's gonna have extra burns, all that stuff. Like I think the Himiko, if you run like a Himiko Asta Hook fireman character build, will pop off, dude. All that extra fire damage, if you're like going in on like a fire weak mob, bro, it's gonna be good. All right, let's see. Let's see what Herta does. Fire damage buff bonus doesn't buff dot. That's yeah, you're right because it's based off of attack. Nah, you're correct. Yeah, you're right. I'm out here spreading misinformation. I'm sorry. Somebody's gonna make a Reddit thread about me. All right, so let's see. Herta only had 2 changes, E1 and E2. Okay, so if enemy's HP is below 50%, oh damn, they're giving her 40% of her attack. Damn, that's a straight 20% increase. Hot damn. Herta's crit rate increases by 3% every time her talent is triggered. This can stack up to 5 times. So they put a modifier on her S2, E2. All right. All right. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, let's be real. Are you really stacking this 5 times in like a fight? I don't really think so. I don't think you're stacking this too many times. Yeah, like too many times. Now she's still trash. She's super good. I liked her for farming. I thought she was really good for farming and clearing big waves. Honestly, like I built her. I used her in CBT. I used her quite a bit when just like farming materials, farming gear. But then again, I guess you can like use pretty much anybody for that. I used her for farming simulated universe. Yeah, she was really good for simulated universe farming. All right, let's take a look here at Serval. Serval looks like she got like a handful of changes here. So let's see, 120 of her attack to enemies and 60% of attack to adjacent enemies, 80% chance for shocked, and 80%. Let's look at these. So this is going to be an increase of 20% on her main damage. 60% of Serval's attack is the same. 80% is the same. Lightning dot damage is going to go from 80% of her attack to 104% of her attack. Yo, that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, this is not really all that bad. This is a pretty big buff. I mean, 20% straight damage and then a huge lightning dot damage here. 24% dot damage. Overall, not bad. Yeah, overall, this is where all of Arwen's modifiers went was to everybody else. They're like, Arwen, you have too many modifiers. We need to take these modifiers and give them to the other people. This was modifier communism. They just took from the rich and gave to everybody else who was already rich, but, they just wanted it anyways. Our modifiers. All right, so let's take a look at her talent. After Serval attacks, deals additional lightning damage equal to 60% of Serval's attack to all shocked enemies. Just another straight up damage increase. We're going to get another 12% here on her talent. Yeah, okay, so there's some more modifiers. So her E6, when Serval's energy is at 50% or higher, her basic attack and skill damage increased by 20, and Serval deals 30% more damage to shocked enemies. So on E6, just straight up 30% more damage to shocked enemies, which To be real, if you're using Serval, they should all be shocked anyways. So, yeah. That is pretty good here. And Herta just starts looking like less and less of a good option. Yeah, but Serval can't ice break things. I mean, I think Serval is definitely really top tier, especially now when it comes to like AoE farming. Like she's gonna be really good and free and hot. All things that are great. I mean, yeah. Hey Shogun, am I seeing things wrong or did they just show ML Melissa? I have no idea, Rigby. All right, Natasha. Natasha, who was already decent. She's gonna get the Bailu treatment, I bet, where they equalize things, right? So let's see. So yeah, so this is what I figured. Right, so they're changing it from 15% of her healing base to 10.5 plus 280. All right. Yeah, so that makes sense. And then yeah, so this is just going to be the same Gepard Bailu gear normalization ease type of deal, right? Yeah, I think this is fine. When it comes to E1 and E2, rebalance after being attacked Natasha's current HP. So anytime that there's going to be flat stuff now, it looks like they're just going to nerf the overall. Oops, that wasn't the picture I wanted to click on here. So 30 is going to be restore her HP equal to 20% of her max plus 160. Yo, this is a big, yeah, 15 to 400. Then when Natasha uses her ultimate, grants continuous healing for 1 turn. 6% plus 160 down from 10% to plus 180. So I mean overall not bad. Yeah, not too bad. She didn't get nerfed. So the thing is, right? Like these are not nerfs. Because like if you if you look at it, right? Like if all stats were equal and 15% of her max HP was equal to 120. I don't know what threshold that is because I don't feel like doing the math right now. You literally get double. Actually, wait, hold on. You get more than double, right? So 120, you're getting an extra 160 flat healing at the cost of 4.5% of her max HP. So this is to help with early game. Like, so this plus the shields plus Gepard plus Bailu's changes are a early game buff, like a really good early game buff into maybe a super late game nerf, which I don't think is really that big of a deal when, and again, that's a bridge we'll cross way in the future when everybody has everything super giga max min maxed. So I think that overall this is just like Bailu, just like Gepard, just like March. I think this is good. I need to know if they changed her cleanse. They didn't. That is it. So Pella. Remove 1 buff and deal ice damage equal to 240 to a single enemy. So this is a 30% nerf here on her damage, which I don't think was really needed. This is straight up 30% nerf right there. Little weird. Her ultimate, 120 ice damage, 140. All enemies, 100% chance to inflict exposed status, breaking their defense for 42%. So this is another direct nerf here. They're going to reduce our ice damage by 40%, and they're going to reduce the defense shred by 2%. She didn't use her skill all too often, so not too mad about it. Yeah, and that's fine. But they're cutting her damage on her ultimate And I mean, 2% defense is pretty much whatever, right? They're like, hey, can we just round this out? But like 40% is kind of shitty. But they also reduced the energy cost by 10%. Yeah, they did reduce the energy cost. So more ultimates. I mean, realistically, you weren't really using Pella for her massive giga big dick damage anyways. So it doesn't really matter. Like, you were using her for her defense shreds so that your big dick damage could do even bigger dick damage. Like, I think that's really what it was, right? I don't think it's going to change her overall functionality really all that much, because you just put down defense shred and then your big dick damage cleaned it up. Wait, her talent had a new line. Effect can only be triggered once per turn. When if an enemy is debuffed after Pella attacks, oh, she only. Ooh. Oh, that means that you can't get multiple 5 energy regens on AoE on S3 on her ultimate on her Q. That kind of sucks. Yeah, so like if you're ripping a fat S3, a fat Q onto 3 enemies, only getting 5 energy back. That kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. But they also reduced the energy cost for her Q. So, yeah. Yeah, that line wasn't there before. Yeah. They added it. Let's see. Her E4 was completely reworked. All right, so let's see. E4. After Pella uses her ultimate, all enemies receive 50% more toughness damage from corresponding types. And S3. When Pella attacks a debuffed enemy, she deals additional ice damage equal to 80% of her attack to that enemy. So now, when using a skill, there's a 100% base chance to reduce the target's ice resistance by 12% for 2 turns. That sucks. Yeah, this was really good. Wait, that's not ice pen. Yeah. And a big nerf on her E6 as well. That's a straight 50% nerf, like 40% obviously, but cut in half on her E6. I mean, the ice res pen is okay, I guess. But like, man, that toughness damage is pretty good, dude. It's not 50% damage though, it's 50% to their break bar. That's 2 different things. It's not 50% increased damage, it's 50% break bar damage. Her Eidolon's got a pretty rough run about it there. But overall, I mean, tweaked a little bit. Yeah, the elemental shred was pretty good. I think that's, I don't know, we'll see. I mean, realistically, you're still just using her to drop defense pen on everything. She's better for single target bosses. Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably. Again, at the end of the day, for the most part, you just use her to drop defense break and then just go big dick. All right, let's look at Sampo. You guys were saying Sampo got some buffs here, which I just did the video on Sampo. Well, I just did the script for the video on Sampo, and I was really hype about Sampo. So I think that I think this will be good. So let's see, what is his changes here? So 3-turn wind shear, 48% straight up to 52% of his attack, which he's already stacking massive attack anyways. So that's just an extra straight up 4%, 20 potential percent here on the dot damage with the stacking 5 times. Not bad. Not bad. Just a small buff right there. E4 was nerfed, so oh no, not the E4. The E4 was good. So they're gonna nerf that by 2% when you get that of his wind shear direct damage. Smudge, but you do make up for it with the. I mean, let's be real. You need to get to E4 first before that even happens, and he's got a direct buff to his wind shear anyways. But hey, when you get to E6, that's going to be increasing that wind shear damage multiplier by 5%. Whales win again. Whales win again, but his wind shear damage multipliers increases, so that decrease is still a neat profit. Yeah, it's still a net profit in overall damage, yeah. Yeah. E6, though, E6 whales win again. They can't keep getting away with it. Yeah, so that's just an overall straight up just buff, in my opinion, for Sampo. Which, again, even though I don't like his character, I don't necessarily like his look, I do like his damage, and I do like his overall dot stacking ability. So I think that's a good one. All right, let's take a look at Hook. Hook's ultimate cost was increased, by 20. Ouch. Oof, that's a lot of extra energy to pop off there. So that's a little bit of a nerf. That's gonna make her rip a lot less ultimates. E1 was nerfed, so Hook's enhanced skill deals 40% more damage to 20% more damage. Oh, hold on. All right, so that's a straight up 20% reduction there, and that enhanced S1 or enhanced skill. That's Smudge. When Hook's talent is triggered, there's a 100% base chance to burn the target and its adjacent enemy units for 2 turns. Inflicted dot equal to at the beginning of turn. Wait, so does this not burn anymore? Or did they just take that out when talent is triggered? Oh, did it take out the no, did they just 2 turn amount removed and the entire final section removed? So how long is the burn? Equivalent to that of skill. Oh, so they just rolled it into this. They're just like, yo, you know what? Just go reference Hook's skill. Yeah, just you know what? We could put all of this text in here, but you don't want to read this fucking dissertation, this like 7-page college, paper. Just go reference the skill, dude. Yeah. Just go look at it. You ain't gonna read this anyways. You'll just watch a YouTube video on it. All right, dude, did they buff Mahjong Girl? Because at the moment, she is hot garbage. So these buffs have to be where all of Arwen's stuff is. Yeah, I bet it doesn't matter. Okay, so her basic attack got a 10% direct buff and then a 6% adjacent buff. And that's on level 1. That ain't it. That ain't it. Because the big problem with her is how much she eats through skill points. Or let's see if her E4 and E6 help out at all. So after so they just got completely reworked. So after this character's skill is used, there's a 24% fixed chance to gain a turkey, which can be used for Thanksgiving, which lasts until the end of the current turn. With a turkey, using basic attack or enhanced basic attack immediately launches one follow-up attack on the same target, dealing quantum damage equal to 100% of the previous basic attack. Still 24%. That's kind of garbage. You get a 24% chance to get a buff to do a double attack. Recovers one skill point after using enhanced basic attack. I guess E6 is okay. It helps out with, like, the fact that she needs to have a shit ton of skill points. But, like, she's still so RNG heavy, dude. And you get rid of the 65% chance for her to draw a jade tile on an enemy's turn, which I think is pretty good. Wait, hold on. So they no. So on her E4, they nerfed her thing by 6%, her chance by 6%. But they allow it to take place on an enhanced basic attack as well. Hey, what's up, War? So they nerfed the overall chance, but allowed it to take place to be effective on the enhanced basic attack as well. I guess that's the thing that you give up in order to use it, right? So it kind of is what it is. Yeah, she's super inconsistent, man. Yeah, I just not a fan of this character. Like, I like the idea of her, but in practice, she's just so not it, man. Sad, actually. Kind of sad, actually. All right, this is going to be the one that's going to hurt. This is the one that's going to hurt me a lot. Quantum damage problems? I never ran into quantum damage problems at all. Because, I mean, everything has multiple break effects. All right, ultimate cost increased by 5. At least it's not that bad. 5 ultimate cost is sucks, but it's not that big. It's not that big of a deal. At least they didn't gut it to be like, oh, you get 20 energy and 10% damage. It's a little bit of a nerf. Tingyan speeds increased by 40% for 1 turn after using skill. That's big. A straight up 20% speed decrease. That is no fun. That is 50% less speed. I am that sucks. Oof. Yeah, she got hit a bit hard, but to be fair, she was really good. So I mean, yeah. All right, so her E2. The blessed ally regenerates 10 energy after defeating an enemy. This effect can only be triggered once per turn. The ally with benediction regenerates 5% or 5 energy after defeating an enemy. So that's another 50% reduction here. That sucks. So she's getting 20% speed reduction, and her E2 got a little bit of a reduction here. She's still good. 5 energy increase here. I mean, she's still gonna be fine. She's just not gonna be as zoomy as she was. I I think I had E2. Yeah, her skills didn't get hit. Like, if they would have reduced, like, the damage on her ultimate, or the energy regeneration, or the, the attack or anything like that, like, all of her buffs on her stuff are still there. Yeah, also there's a 1 turn decrease on her buff, which kind of sucks. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they did reduce that on her ultimate. But the thing is like, I would be like, on a slow unit, right? I felt like I could keep up all of her buffs on like a slow damage dealer, like, constantly. Like, even on Welt, I usually had her. I would, and the thing too, right, is like, usually you would use her ultimate when your damage dealer was close to their ultimate. So you just immediately use your ultimate at the damage, and then you usually lap it by that time around. Yeah, she's a good Jingyan support. Yeah, she's still good with Bronya or Welt. Yeah, I completely agreed. Yeah, I mean, the extra 20% speed decrease, like the speed loss, like right here, kind of sucks, but it's only 1 turn, right? Like, it's not like you had 40% speed for like 5 or 6 turns, and now it's not that big of a deal. You're still going to be fast enough to zoom around. All right, and finally, last one, Big Dick Energy, Shu Shang. All right, so this is her technique buff. Let's go. That's just a straight up buff when she drops in. That's just her tech. So whenever you're entering, it's going to do 30% of her attack to all allies or all enemies. So that's not bad. Repel the enemy. For every sword stance triggered, the damage dealt by sword stance is increased by 3%. This stacks up to 10 times. They nerfed her. They nerfed her riposte. 2.5% now. Unfortunate. Yeah, it's 10 p.m. Eastern on the 25th in Kamala. So there's a little bit of a nerf right there. What's that? A 5% overall nerf. So at max stacks, this is going to be 30 to 25%. Unfortunate. E4 was also nerfed. Xusheng's break effectiveness is increased by 50%. Wait, is that the actual picture? Is that the actual picture on her Eidolon, or is this just a joke? Like, please tell me that's the actual picture on her Eidolon. Bro, she's the best character in the fucking game, dude. The picture is absolutely the buff. Yeah, it doesn't even matter. Oh, darn, break effect has been increased by 40, reduced by 10%. Yeah, who cares? This is the buff right here. This is the best picture. I need this as an emote. Hold on, I gotta save this image. Saved. I need to make that into an emote or something. So I mean, overall, she got a buff on her technique. She got a nerf on her trace, and she got a little bit of a nerf on her E4. She's still gonna be dishing out mad damage. Who cares? Yeah, who cares? She's still gonna be laying it down. I think she'll be fine. So I think overall, like this was a really interesting. They changed. This changes everything. Actually, it actually changes everything because everything got changed. So I could put that in the title and I could put that on the thumbnail and it wouldn't be wrong. This changes everything you've known about everything you've ever known about Honkai Star Rail. I still don't know where the core mechanic changes. If anybody can find that for me, let me know. Hour and a half video digging into all of the changes, taking me back to my E7 days. Gonna end the video here though. If you guys like this content, like, fave, subscribe, comment down below. What changes did you like? Which changes did you not like? I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy, homies. Peace out, YouTube.